You know, the exact moment and place you were born, that's not just some random fact for your birth certificate. What if it's actually a cosmic address? A unique set of coordinates that sketches out a blueprint for your entire life, your potential, your challenges, everything. Well, today we're diving into how Vedic astrology, or Jyotish, uses these fundamental forces of time and space to create exactly that. Okay, so let's just get right into it with the biggest question that always comes up. I mean, if astrology is a system, how can two people born at the exact same instant have completely different lives? It's a great question, a paradox that seems to poke a hole in the whole thing. But the answer is all in the details. And that puzzle starts to get solved right here with these three essential pieces of information. To get an accurate horoscope, you need this trifecta: the exact time, the date, and this is the one people often forget, the place of birth. Think of them like cosmic GPS coordinates that map out a celestial snapshot that is uniquely yours and nobody else's. So let's zoom in on that third coordinate because it's so important. We're talking about space, or as it's called in Sanskrit, desh. The where of your birth. Well, it's not just a backdrop for the story. In Jyotish, the very ground you're born on has its own energy, its own power that completely shapes the forces at play in your life. Here's why that matters so much. This system is geocentric, which is just a fancy way of saying it's all about the view from Earth, specifically your view. So imagine someone is born in Mumbai. The slice of the sky they see, the planets and the stars on the horizon, is totally different from what someone born at that exact same second sees in London. This means a different zodiac sign is rising in the east. That's the ascendant. And that one single difference creates two wildly different horoscopes from the get-go. And this isn't just theory, It has real, tangible effects. For instance, there's a fascinating link between your location and even your longevity. In hotter climates near the equator, where the sun is just intense, lifespans have historically been shorter. But in colder places, think Russia or Iceland, these are places associated with the planet Saturn, which is a big factor for longevity. People there tend to live much longer. The space you're born into really does matter. And here is a perfect story to illustrate this idea of a karma bhumi, a land of action where you can really hit your stride. You've heard of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, right? The guy who created Sherlock Holmes. Well, for years, he was a doctor, and he was struggling. His incredible genius just wasn't taking off. It wasn't until he moved that everything changed. See, the latitude of his new home happened to align perfectly with the sun in his birth chart. The moment he found his right place, his destiny just unlocked. Okay, so we've covered space, the dash, which is kind of static. Now let's bring in the second huge force, the dynamic flow of time, or call. And this isn't just about that one moment you were born. It's about these massive, sweeping cycles of the cosmos that basically set the seasons for our entire lives. The year is essentially split into two, all based on the sun's journey from our perspective. The first half is called Uttarayan. This is from about late December to late June, when the sun appears to be moving north. The days get longer, there's more light, and this whole period is seen as a time of divine action, of progress, of moving forward. And then you have the other half, Dakshinayan. This is when the sun starts its journey back south. The days start getting shorter and the nights get longer. Spiritually, this is seen as a time for looking inward, for resting, for consolidation. It's when the divine forces are said to be at rest. So you've got Uttarayan, known as the Day of the Gods, which is considered super auspicious for big things, new projects, weddings, major life events. And then you have Dakshinayan, the Night of the Gods. Since it's a period of divine rest, major auspicious events are generally avoided. It's this beautiful cosmic rhythm, a time for doing and a time for being. And if you want to understand just how deeply important this timing is, there's this incredible story from the Mahabharata. The great warrior Bhishma is lying there mortally wounded, but he consciously holds onto his life force. He literally waits on a bed of arrows for weeks, just waiting for the exact moment Uttarayan begins, because he believed that leaving his body during the Day of the Gods would guarantee the best possible path for his soul. Amazing, right? So if time and space draw the map of our lives, how fixed is that map really? Well, that question leads us to an absolutely legendary story about the immense power of destiny, featuring the great astrologer Varahamihir. The story goes that after the king's son was born, Varahamihir was called in to predict his future. And after doing all the calculations, he came back with this chillingly specific prophecy. He said the prince would die in his 18th year on a very specific day, killed by a boar. Now, the king was not having it. He decided he was going to defy fate itself, so he took these unbelievable measures. First, he built a massive, impenetrable fortress to keep the prince safe, surrounded by towering walls 80 feet high. And if that wasn't enough, he stationed 10,000 soldiers to guard the entire place, inside and out. The prince lived on the 7th floor. The security was so tight, not even a rat could get in. It seemed absolutely impossible for a wild boar to ever get near him. But on the exact day of the prophecy, destiny played its hand in the most unbelievable way. A freak gust of wind snapped the palace flagpole, and the heavy iron royal emblem that was fixed to the top of it, an emblem shaped like a boar, came crashing down, and it struck and killed the prince. The very symbol meant to represent his royal protection became the instrument of his fate. That story just goes to show you, destiny can find a way to manifest in the most unexpected ways. But that brings us all the way back to our original question, and it's time to add one last fascinating layer to all this, the twin paradox. I mean, think about it. They have the same time of birth, the same date, the same location. Their horoscopes should be pretty much identical. So how is it that they so often turn out to be completely different people, with different paths, different personalities, different lives? Well, the answer is that a birth chart is a critical snapshot, yes, but it's a snapshot of the soul's entry into this world, not its entire story. There are two other huge unseen factors at play. First, the planetary alignments at the moment of conception create an initial imprint that's different for each soul. And second, the unique genetic and karmic lineage you inherit from your parents gives each soul a totally different foundation to work with. And here's the best analogy to really get your head around this. Think of all the planetary influences as sunlight. Now, if you shine that sunlight on 3 different things, say a piece of coal, a glass of milk, and a bit of oil, all 3 are going to absorb and react to that same energy in completely different ways, right? It's because of their own inherent nature. It's the same with us. Even twins have a different capacity to absorb and process cosmic energies, all based on their own unique makeup. So, when you put it all together, you see that the birth chart isn't some rigid sentence. It's a map of potentials. It's your cosmic blueprint, showing the energies you came in with, all shaped by this incredible dance of time and space. The chart shows you the terrain, the landscape of your life, which leaves us with the most important question of all. How are you going to navigate the journey?